everyone, and welcome back to the A to B podcast, your number one source for military entrepreneurship and entertainment. Guys, another week, another episode. Thank you guys so much for everyone that watches, likes, comment, and most importantly, subscribes to our channel. Thank you guys so much. We do this for you guys. We couldn't be doing this without you guys. Unfortunately, guys, this week I am not joined by Barry. He has some family matters to attend to. So I just want to make sure that you guys wish him well because Barry will be coming back shortly, okay? Make sure you guys send him a DM and be like, hey, Barry, we miss you in the A to B podcast. But guys, this week we have another interesting guest because you guys have probably seen him on social media. He's probably in the top 5 favorite corporals that you guys have on social media in the Marine Corps right now. Who am I talking to? I'm talking about none other than Luke. What's up, brother?
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you for accepting my invite and coming on the podcast, man. What made you want to come to the podcast?
Like, I saw a lot of the creators I've watched for like months or even years like come on the podcast and then like voicing their stories and like giving advice and insight. I thought it'd be a pretty cool opportunity to share maybe parts of my story or give advice to other people out there too.
Okay, before we start, dude, you have an amazing anchor's voice.
I appreciate that.
What did you do before you joined the Marine Corps?
So believe it or not, I worked at a Starbucks inside a grocery store before the Marine Corps.
So they weren't even speakerphones. Like, you know how you have to wear like the headphone and then no.
It was like a kiosk within the grocery store.
Dude, does your command put you like to read like promotion warrants?
Like, believe it or not, I've never read a promotion warrant.
Are you fucking serious? There's no way.
I swear.
There is no way. Doc, I'll say. Give me a freaking promotion warrant over there.
You actually, there's no way you have an actual promotion warrant.
Yeah, well, I have it right here because I was like, dude, this guy got such an amazing voice. So you're good, dude. What the fuck is this?
What?
This ain't even a fucking promotion warrant. United States Marine Corps Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps. Like, what the fuck is? Anyways, dude, let's go ahead. See if you can read this. See if you can read that. Oh, okay. Well, he got me the actual promotion warrant. God, Jesus. Okay, let me see.
Whose name's on it this time?
Well, it's gonna be. This is an actual promotion warrant, by the way. Like from somebody. Hey, you're about to get a shout out, and you don't even know you're getting a shout out. Read that one. Let's see what happens.
Oh man.
Give it your best.
I got you. All right. To all of CV's president's greetings. Know thee that reposing special trust and confidence in the fidelity and abilities of Tiffany R. Thornton. I do appoint this Marine, a Lance Corporal in the United States Marine Corps, to rank as such from the day of July 2007. This appointee will therefore carefully and diligently discharge the duties of the grade to which appointed by doing and performing all manners of things pertaining. And I do strictly charge and require all personnel of lesser grade to render obedience to appropriate orders, and this appointee is to observe and follow such orders and directions as may be given from time to time by superiors acting according to the rules and articles governing the discipline of the Armed Forces of the United States of America. Given under my hand this first day of July in the year of our Lord, 2007.
Hey, let's go! I'm
not gonna lie, it was pretty hard to read some of the cursive.
It is hard as hell. Look, this is cursive as hell. Okay, so this is cursive. It's hard. Now you know why staffs, first sergeants can't read that shit because it's cursive. You gotta write that shit in crayon, guys. Brother, leave a comment to see on a scale of 1 to 10. What do you think about his promotion ring? So it's okay. You're a corporal right now. Just know that by the time that you reach staff sergeant, you're most likely gonna have to have that shit memorized.
Oh, I bet.
So, brother, talk to us about who is Luke Liu.
Like who I am?
Who are you? Where are you from? What brought you to the Marine Corps?
So I was born in New Jersey, but I grew up most of my life in Illinois. And during high school, I kind of fell off a little bit. I was having a really bad sense of direction. I was failing school. I didn't have a lot of opportunities for myself or really any hope of succeeding. And that's kind of where the Marine Corps saved me from that position I was in. And that's kind of where it led me to today. Like 4.5 years later, now I'm here on a podcast. Life's good, money's up, new opportunities too. I just got news that I was got accepted to be a recruiter for my career planner.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Where are you going to school for? Oh, when is the date for you to go to
It's
school?
going to be April of next year.
Okay, so a full year out. They gave you orders a full year. That's good, man. Well, we're good. Definitely going to be talking about what led you to want to be a Marine Corps recruiter. But you mentioned something, right? It's like, okay, so you were failing in school, and yet you decided to join the Marine Corps, which is the hardest military branch in the entire world.
Right.
Why the Marine Corps? Why not the Army, the Navy, the Air Force?
I think I really needed an opportunity to like challenge myself and give myself the best opportunity to succeed. I think the Marine Corps just stood out to me the most compared to the other branches of the services. Like they just spoke to me like that level of pride, that camaraderie, that sense of purpose that I genuinely needed to succeed as a man, as a person, and that's why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, was the Marine Corps your first option? Like, did you research, other branches, or did you just go straight to the Marine Corps?
So the Marine Corps was my first option because one of my friends was in a credit recovery class, just like I was, and he told me about it. He pitched it to me. I talked to a recruiter that same day, and like he told me everything about the whole 9 yards. And I was like, that sounds pretty good.
And what did you score on the ASVAB?
I got a 70.
Damn, that's high as hell.
Really? You think so?
Well, I don't think so. I freaking know so. I got a 42 on the freaking ASVAB. So don't look at me like that. Why you gotta look at me like that? Damn, you judged the hell out of me with that fucking look.
My bad.
Damn, fuck. Now I feel judged. All right, but okay. So you scored a 70 on the ASVAB. So you're a recruiter's dream. You want to leave. So you were in high school still, though, right?
Right.
Was first semester or second semester?
Second semester.
Okay, so you were getting to that point. It's like, fuck, I gotta do something with my life.
Right.
Okay, so you decided to join the Marine Corps. How was the delayed entry program for you?
In terms of what?
Like, in terms of how was your experience in the delayed entry program? Do you think the recruiters, did their job correctly? What did your recruiters tell you about your job? That's more importantly. And most importantly, if there's, let's say, a mother, because there's a bunch of moms that watches our podcast, and future applicants, police that watch our podcast, what would be your advice for them if they're in the delayed entry program?
Yeah, for me, like it was honestly pretty good. Like my recruiters were pretty honest about like the experience of like enlisting, like the waiting game of like until you go to boot camp, and the general concept of the Marine Corps. Like they were pretty honest to me, and like 4.5 years later, like everything they said turned out to be true. At the time I was really passionate about cooking, so I wanted to originally be a food service specialist. Believe it or not. I had a lot of options for MOSs because I had a 70, but that was the only MOS I wanted at the time.
You wanted to be a cook.
Yeah, believe it or not.
What did they tell you about being a cook? If you remember.
So they told me like, I mean, that's great if you want to be a cook, but there's like a lot of other fields yet again that you can do. Like, I could pretty much do almost anything besides like maybe counter intel or like something very technical.
So your line scores were also very high.
Yes, from what I can remember, yeah.
Okay. And what job field did you decided to pick? You decided to pick cook?
I did.
But the thing is, you can either be a cook, a mail clerk, or DMO, distribution management.
Right. And so what happened was like I asked my recruiter offered me an earlier boot camp date, and subsequently I changed the boat space, I believe. So I ended up becoming a 3051 inventory management specialist, like a warehouseman.
Yeah. Okay. So you're supply then.
I am.
Okay. So you're supply. How was your experience going through boot camp?
I'm not gonna lie. Have you ever watched that documentary with Staff Sergeant Nichols back in the day?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was basically Recruit Ruiz back then in my platoon.
Okay.
I was not a very confident kid.
Okay.
To be quite honest, or like that smart, I'd say. At least I didn't think I was very smart, and I was kind of like the center of attention in my platoon back then, just because like I was always second guessing myself, or I was always like having trouble like doing some simple like training or just daily tasks throughout the training day.
Did you fuck up and drill a lot?
Oh yeah, I was a trailblazer.
Man, good thing Barry's not here because he would fucking destroy the hell
man.
out of you in drill.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Okay, so you gotta have some funny ass boot camp stories, dog. Let's pause over there in boot camp, and I just want to hear some of your funny boot camp stories. So, do you remember your recruiter's name? Let's just start with that.
Yes.
Okay, what's your recruiter name?
Staff Sergeant Franzoni.
Staff Sergeant Franzoni. Shout out to Staff Sergeant Franzoni out of RSS what?
Peoria.
What?
Peoria.
Peoria. I don't know where the hell that's at, but it sounds like it's a good place because obviously you're recruited, Luke. What were your drill instructors' names?
It was Staff Sergeant Welker, Staff Sergeant Simarusti. Simarusti? I still, to this day, I keep getting it wrong.
Yeah.
And Sergeant George. But I actually met one of my drill instructors about a week and a half ago randomly in the fleet.
Really?
Yeah, he's a gunnery sergeant.
How did that interaction go?
So, like, I had to go to a third lad to talk to their command on behalf of a Marine who was on BCP because I'm the manager for those programs at my command. And I was...
Was he fapped out to your command?
No, he recently just came to the unit. I forgot the exact reason why he came to the unit, but I went to go speak to the S3 directly, and sure enough, like I see like my drill instructor, I'm like, there's no fucking way. That's him. He's a gunnery sergeant now too, which is awesome to see. Like, he was a sergeant when I met him.
Right, yeah, that's awesome.
It was probably one of the most unexpected but coolest reunions ever. Like seeing him in the fleet, and he's still talking to the other drill instructors as well. Like Staff Sergeant Simarusi is now a first sergeant.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really inspiring to see how well they're doing beyond that point now.
Was this East Coast or West Coast?
West Coast.
West Coast, okay. And dude, you got to share some crazy ass stories. You got either from yourself, from your personal experience, or something that you saw. You can either say that it was Recruit Schmuckatelli to see if you got to tell us, what's your craziest boot camp story?
My craziest boot camp story. I'm really trying to think because I haven't reminisced about my boot camp days in a long time. Like, I was just known for that kid to be, like, you know, just singled out a lot by my drill instructors. Like, I probably got IT'd the most out of anybody in my platoon just because I'd always mess something up or...
Like what?
Like McMap, for example. Like, I was horrible at McMap. Like, just for trying to remember the techniques or even just doing the stances while performing them. Like, I was just so bad.
Okay.
And, yeah.
And what were some of the corrective actions that them drill instructors had for you? Did they ever put you, like, for example, right? Because this is what they used to do to me.
Yeah.
Or Lance Corporal Schmuckatelli. Not me necessarily, right? But what they used to do was whenever they saw that I was like beaten down, I really wasn't getting something, they would get my squad leader or they would get like somebody that was, you know, my friend or whatever that was close to me, and they would just IT the fuck out of them.
Really?
They didn't do that to you?
No.
Oh, yeah. Dude, yeah, right? I'm not crazy. So they would IT the hell out of him, and then all you had to do was just sit there and scream to him. It was like, push harder, push harder. Do you remember that? Dude, I did that too. As a recruiter, I did that. So we had, when I was a recruiter in Puerto Rico, you were probably there. He can probably turn on that mic so that way you get people.
It's on.
It's on? Okay.
Yeah.
So I recruited him in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had this PT that we used to call Cerro Gordo, right? Mm-hmm. And we had this kid that was also very, very, very uncoordinated. And quite honestly, he was kind of lazy. What was his name? Do you remember his name?
I don't remember his name.
Preciado. I remember your freaking name, dog. Preciado. So this kid, we had a signature PT that was called Cerro Gordo, right? Mm-hmm. And in Cerro Gordo was like a small crucible. It was like 3 or 4 hours, like intense. So that way it's not me. Can you kind of tell what we used to do in Cerro Gordo?
Oh, we did everything. Like Cerro Gordo is like it was like a trail, right? It's just like
it was a mountain bike trail.
Yeah, and we were like low crawling, grabbing, like we had the dummies, we had ammo cans, we had everything. It was like literally like a crucible, and it felt long. It felt long as shit.
So it was about a 5 mile mountain bike trail in by the beach, but in the mountains of Puerto Rico, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and we used to start with dummies, like real dummies, 180-pound dummies. We used to have three because there was 3 squads for all 3 recruiters, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 3 squads, you would divide them up, and then you would have to carry water jugs, filled up water jugs. You will have to you will have to carry in a stretcher this dummy, and then you will have to carry 2 ammo cans and whatever the fuck I could find on the way. So if I would find like a cut up palm tree, like you will carry the palm tree, right? So this kid Preciado, I noticed that his ass is, hey, much love now, Preciado, but you were a little bitch back then, okay? It's like this fucking kid, he wouldn't carry nothing. He wouldn't help out at all. Like, he wouldn't have not even like a pack on or anything like that, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, Preciado, you fucking bitch. Like, you know what? You're gonna carry, like, somebody's gonna carry you. And the thing is, he was so tired. I don't know if you ever been that tired that you can't even lock your core. So whenever he got carried, he would go like... And then I would have him scream like, Preciado, scream! And then they would go like, faster, guys, faster, faster. And I would tell him what to say. Dude, and the police that were actually putting out, they were freaking pissed off at Preciado. Dude, I'm telling you, like, we had video of this, but I think I erased it because I was going to get in trouble because I was still in. But remember, because we used to record it.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, it was like the camera, like me knife handling this kid. Preciado, if you're out there, and his mom too, because his mom thanked me for making a man out of Preciado. Hey, much love for you now, but yeah, dude, you were a fucking little bitch back then. Do you have any of those stories?
When I was a pulley?
No, well,
I mean, when I was a recruit.
Yeah, because the recruit is free reign. Come on now.
Yeah, like, believe it or not, even though I was the recruit Ruiz, like, I didn't really get have anything that notable to where I was fucking over the entire platoon. Like, I just got singled out a lot.
Oh,
like,
really?
Like, I have like the record for like, the most ITs within that platoon during my cycle. Like, I just kept getting ITs single-handedly, you know.
Well, I mean, I bet you were in pretty good shape though.
Oh yeah, I definitely lost weight in boot camp. I lost like 10 pounds.
Okay, so you come out of boot camp, you go to MCT, and then now you are going to supply school in Camp Johnson, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Correct? Mm-hmm. How was that experience?
It was honestly like a pretty good time. Like, it felt like kind of like a college experience. Like, we're all a bunch of young men and women living like a dorm, like the barracks, and just like going to school. Then after work, we can just do whatever we want. Of course, there's counts and stuff, but
yeah,
it was pretty cool. Like, being able to.
So you enjoyed it?
I honestly really enjoyed it. Yeah,
good.
Like,
and do you enjoy your job now?
Yes and no. So, like, when I was in my first command, I did using unit supply, which to me, I didn't mind at all. I kind of liked it. It felt a lot more simple, straightforward. There was more opportunities for me to do different tasks. But now I'm in a unit that does intermediate supply.
Which unit?
First CRR.
CRR?
It used to be supply battalion.
Okay.
You were there, right?
I was the first supply battalion, yeah.
Like,
did we speak about this already?
I think so. I think on that initial phone call, like, you mentioned it briefly.
Yeah, because I used to work at the S3 too.
Really?
Yeah, I used to work at the S3.
It really is really cool.
I don't know if you guys are still in the same building.
Yeah, we are.
Like the head shed, like the battalion building.
Yeah.
By the flagpole.
Oh yeah, it's still there.
You guys are still there?
We're still there.
Is it still to the first door on the first and second door on the right hand side?
Yeah. Not much is really changing it, apparently.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so I used to be there. Back in my day. No, I'm kidding. This was like 2023. So I went there from like the end of 2022 to like 2023. I was the training chief over there for Supply Battalion. How is it now?
I think it's honestly in a pretty good health. Like, our OIC is very good at what she does, and she's been like pretty proactive about, you know, trying to get things squared away, trying to find ways to innovate and improve the S3 as well as training. She's taught me.
Do you guys still use Teams?
Yes, pretty heavily.
Okay, well, that the person that introduced Teams to the entire battalion was me.
Really?
Nobody used to use Teams.
I thought like everyone was just caught up with Teams by now.
No, so what I did whenever I was over there, utilizing Teams was, everyone always used to complain at the battalion that we used to come with last minute taskers. I don't know if that's still a thing, but they used to come with like last minute taskers from the MLG or from the MEF. And then when I got there, I was like, okay, so explain to me how this works, because it goes from the S1, which they're the ones that receive, the taskers, to the S3, so that way we can source the tasks, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, so I got with the lieutenant over there at the S1. I was like, walk me through how this works. It was like, well, we get this tasker. Okay, when do we get the tasker? Oh, we get the tasker like at the beginning of the FY. So why the hell is it that you guys are requesting people for yesterday? Mm-hmm. Oh, because people never know. Because the people that need to go to the meetings never go to the meetings. I mean, okay, so is there a better way? Because I was an MMDC. I come from MMDC. And I cannot afford to go to a meeting every single time that there's a fucking meeting, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, so how can we improve this? And I actually put all the taskers in Teams, and I used to tag all the first sergeants, all the training clerks, everybody, so that way they knew exactly when they needed to be sourced, how many names, what MOS we needed, like absolutely everything. Mm-hmm. Is that still get done?
Yeah, like Teams is like our bread and butter. Like it's so helpful to
man, I'm so happy
post
to hear
like
that.
Different files like on the Teep, like the different events. Like
yeah.
I don't know how we would function effectively without like Teams.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, man. That makes me happy, honestly. That makes me very happy to hear that you guys are using Teams. Because nobody really wanted to use Teams. Everybody was using Outlook and get on my calendar in Outlook. I'm like, dog, like, come on, man. Like, what are we talking about? Right. So I'm really happy to hear that. Okay, so let's talk about your time in Camp Lejeune, right? Because you started in Camp Lejeune, you said.
Right.
What was your unit over there in Camp Lejeune?
I was over in Victor 26.
Because you came from, so you came from an infantry unit.
Correct.
To supply battalion.
I know, it was a very weird transition. Like the weirdest one possible.
Okay, explain.
Like the culture, like how business is conducted, like night and day difference amongst the infantry versus like a pogue unit. Like no shade of my unit, obviously. It's just very two different spectrums of the Marine Corps. So for me, it was like a very weird transition as a young corporal, like coming to supply battalion at the time. And like seeing how different it was. Like it was.
What were some of the key main difference that you can say?
Like they're like more by the books. Like for example, like if I wanted like to enroll one of my Marines on like a map course, I'd just like call someone and make it happen, and boom, show up Monday morning. Like in supply battalion, be more like, let's get you a screen checklist, yada yada yada, mm-hmm. all like more paperwork and stuff, right? Just more by the books, which isn't a bad thing, but I wasn't really as used to that.
Yeah. Okay, so how was it for PFC Lou checking into a grunt unit?
Man,
is it true what they say that when you walk through the barracks, they go like, "Woo, fresh meat"?
I mean, I didn't get single as much as like the actual PFC grunts out there, but like my NC was definitely slayed a shot at me when I was first there. Like I remember doing a lot of casualty runs, like 5 a.m. I remember I've done some water jug runs too. And I was thinking at the time, like, I'm supply. Why am I doing this? This is awful, But it definitely built a lot of character. Like looking back at it, and like definitely helped out my physical condition a lot. But it was definitely a hard transition for sure. I'm like, what? This is not what I expected. Like I was one of the only kids in my class at the time to get an infantry unit. Like everyone else was going to supply battalion, like CLR, like other like pogue units. And I was one of the only ones. That was the beginning of 2021. I want to say about February.
So you were still a COVID, right? It was still during COVID protocols?
Yes.
Okay, we talked about COVID protocols in boot camp still. So you went to an infantry. Did you do any deployments during your first 4 years?
Yes, I did. I went with 22nd MEU on the USS Kearsarge back in 2022.
What kind of things did you do?
I'm gonna be honest, like I didn't get to do any training out there. Like the line companies and weapons company did, right?
Yeah.
Some of the more essential pogues did, but
yeah.
We went to a lot of countries. We went to Norway, Estonia, Sweden, France, Latvia, Lithuania, I believe Poland. Yeah, Poland too. So for me, it was a booze cruise because only time I leave the ship is to enjoy liberty.
Yeah.
Well, everyone else, like, of course, enjoying liberty too, but a lot of them are going out to the field for a week at a time, maybe even a few days. You never know.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, but what was your responsibilities? Obviously, because we talk about all those cool places, and they are cool places, by the way. But like, what were your responsibilities on ship?
so I was responsible for receiving gear from, like, whenever we had like a resupply, like I'd be responsible for going down, coordinating with the Navy personnel, the Blue Side Navy, receiving the gear and disseminating it to the other sections of my battalion. Like I'd be giving it out to like one of the line companies or like a motor T rep, an armory rep. So that was like my job, as well as a couple other stragglers from my supply shop, because we were all split up on 3 ships. So we all had to definitely carry our weight a lot on that ship. But yeah, that's basically what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and whenever you got back from that deployment, right? What changed? Did people look at you different? It's like, wow, you just went on a deployment. Did anybody like teach you any type of differently, or were still considered just a regular ass fucking? What were you, a Lance Corporal?
Yeah, when I got back.
Okay, so did you just like, oh yeah, man, cool, another Lance Corporal?
I mean, maybe yeah, there's like definitely some people like, dang, like that's a really cool opportunity, because like a lot of young Marines like nowadays in peacetime don't always get the opportunity to deploy so early on. So like some of them definitely like were pretty jealous if I got the opportunity to deploy, you know. But I mean, it is a little bit of a universal sign of respect. Like, hey, he's gone on deployment, right? I mean, that's a pretty big experience.
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know?
specifically if you went, specifically in First Supply Battalion,
Right.
because you can spend 4 or 5 years on a supply
Mm-hmm.
battalion and not deploy at all. Because
Exactly.
supply battalions do augments.
Yeah.
And those were the taskers that I was telling you that come from MEF and come from the MLG. They say, okay, they're very specific with it as well. They say, okay, well, we need 1 3052, 2 3152s, and then whatever, right? And then those now get sourced to a section that has 20, 30 Marines to pick from, and they'll be specific with the ranks as well. So you're not deploying in a supply battalion your entire shop. Like maybe you would on a line company, whenever you are in an infantry battalion. So, but supply battalions and units like that, they are very specific whenever it comes to the way that they actually deploy.
Right.
So you've been blessed that you've seen the worst side really that there is to see about your job, which is like on an infantry unit. And then now you were in a supply battalion, right? So you got back from that deployment. Obviously you're re-enlisted, just re-enlisted.
It's been about a year and some change.
Okay. So at what point did you decide to re-enlist?
It was about my 2.5 year mark. Like I was still a young corporal. Like my perspective of the Marine Corps changed a lot after I promoted to that rank, because it gave me the opportunity to like actually lead and like mentor people and like leave an impact. And to me, that was like, I realized the privilege of leadership. I was like, wow, this would be awesome to like continue to have the opportunity to mentor people and leave some kind of impact going forward. So that's definitely what motivated me to want to re-enlist.
Okay. How was the process of re-enlistment for you?
In terms of what?
In terms of like, okay, like were you like on the commandant's retention list?
I wasn't, unfortunately. I was tier 2. I was viciously mediocre on paper compared to
Yeah,
some other
viciously
people.
mediocre. Okay.
Compared to some other people.
Okay. So how's the process? Because obviously the process is pretty simple if you're on the commandant's retention list.
Yeah.
You're on that list, your package is gonna get approved.
Oh, guaranteed. Yeah.
Okay, but how is the process for the rest of everybody that it has to go through the regular process?
So, like, when it comes to, like, selecting the different tiers, because there's, if I'm not mistaken, 4 different tiers in terms of retention, they, like, look at the different areas of you. A lot of it, like, has to do with your JPIS as well for, like, the first-term Marines, like, your PFT, your CFT, your rifle score, any MOS quals, off-duty education, right? I mean, there's other things that go into it. Like, I couldn't tell you. I don't work at Manpower Reserve Affairs and all that good stuff. But they basically determine, like, there's, like, a certain, like, threshold for tier one. Like let's say they want Marines with JPEGs of 583 and above to be qualified for tier one. Maybe tier two is like 450 to 582, right? That's how they like divvy up the different tiers. And the higher tier you are, the more competitive you are for re-enlistment, and you have like a little bit more leverage whenever you have a higher tier to fight for that boat space to stay in.
Okay, now you recently went. A year and some change is still fairly recent, right?
Yeah, I say so.
What would your advice would be for a corporal that is due for re-enlistment within the next year? What are you telling them if you would tell them? Would you tell them to re-enlist? Would you tell them to get out? What would your advice be for that person?
I think regardless if they're not sure if they want to stay in or not, like I would definitely like talk to your career planner and see the other different opportunities you have. Because as a first term Marine, you have a lot of opportunities to like look forward to, like lateral moves, like later on a second enlistment, like doing an SDA. Like that's when you have like the best opportunity to like make a big transition within your time in the Marine Corps, at least in my opinion. So like your career planner is your best friend when it comes to that. Like so even if you don't end up re-enlisting, just like take the opportunity to learn more about like some of the different things and programs the Marine Corps offers. You never know where it can take you.
Yeah, and specifically because, during the first year, you might get met with some realities that you didn't fully understand. We got to understand that the prime ages for recruitment for the Marine Corps are anywhere from 17 to 24 years old, right?
Right.
So you still don't know a lot of what you don't know.
Exactly.
And you might think that you like a job. Like, for example, for me, I thought that I wanted to be an artillery badass. Well, not even artillery. Like a G.I. Joe. I joined the Marine Corps. I want to shoot some people, whatever. Luckily, like I explained in one of the previous podcasts, my dad talked me off that ledge to go infantry. But I was like, fuck it, I'm still going to go artillery. And then I realized I got met with some realities in artillery. And I was like, yeah, this is not the lifestyle that I really want. Always in the field, like very sacrificed. That's why I have a lot of respect for artillery people. And then I lab moved as well. So we got to understand that there are some realities that if you don't have to get out, like just because you didn't like your job, but you still like the Marine Corps, that you have to transition out of the Marine Corps, because the Marine Corps has over 350 jobs. And a lot of things that a lot of people don't understand, they just don't do the research, is that even because what's going to happen is the career planner is going to tell you, well, if you want a lab move, these are all the jobs that you qualify for right now based on your line scores and your qualifications. Okay? Now, it's also even better because when you first get into the Marine Corps, you get assigned a program. You don't get assigned a specific MOS. And this is good knowledge if you're going to be a recruiter. You don't get assigned a specific MOS. You get assigned a program. But when you try to lab move, you will be assigned a specific MOS. So that's what happened to me. I was like, oh, yeah, sure. Like, I'll take distribution management because I knew kind of what it was already. Now, the one thing that I would tell people is that even if you don't qualify for the job that you want, you can still go to the academic skills program in the education center, and it's a 1 month TAD. They take you back to the basics in high school, and then now you qualify you retake the ASVAB at the end of the course, and then now if you paid attention like you were supposed to in class, you get a higher ASVAB score and you get higher line scores, or potentially higher line scores. Therefore, you might qualify for you to be either a officer, or you might even qualify to be a warrant officer whenever the time is right. So just know that there's other options for you instead of you simply getting out because you hate the Marine Corps or because you hate your job or you hate the people that are in your MOS. I understand that some MOSs are more toxic than others, but that's what your dumbass get for not doing this research up front.
Exactly. It can just be as simple as starting that conversation with that career planner, or just asking somebody in that community you want information about.
Yeah.
Like it can really like lead.
I
to so
suggest
many
the second one because there are some really good career planners out there, but not all career planners are created equal.
Right. That's fair to say.
You know, not all career planners are created equal. Some are better than others. Some really care and they really enjoy like helping out Marines. Some are just there because that's the easiest job that they can have without getting kicked out. You know, that's just and because I've seen them, I've seen both. You know,
Yeah.
I've seen both, and just because they've seen that they care doesn't necessarily mean that they care. Not trying to throw shade at career planners, because I'm working with two amazing career planners right now. But yeah, man, like that's just the way that it actually is. Now, getting back to you, you didn't decide to lab move, so
Yes.
you enjoy your job. You said there's a love-hate relationship with it.
Yeah, so like in terms of like using supply, like I thought it was a pretty decent gig. It was pretty simple to do. Like it wasn't like an overwhelming workload. Like it was pretty manageable. But when I came to like a supply battalion and tried intermediate supply, it's kind of hard to describe. It just feels a lot more mundane because when it comes to using unit supply, like I can do like so many different tasks, like a bunch of side quests, right? When it comes to
Yeah.
when it comes to intermediate supply, it's you have basically one finite task to do each and every day, and it feels more like I'm working at Amazon, khaki shorts and a scan gun, than like in a using unit. I had more of a purpose.
Yeah.
I was doing like different taskers, if that makes sense. And also too, my MOS, like as of current, it's pretty competitive for retention as well as promotion. Like the score from March was like 691 to promote to sergeant.
Yeah.
So it's one of the harder MOS to promote in, hence why I'm still a corporal. So
Yeah. So you haven't gotten any type of trouble, none of that stuff.
oh no. Just one thing I've gotten ever is like a negative counseling, but nothing beyond that point.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously you re-enlisted. Did you get duty station preference when you re-enlisted? Or like what incentives did you get out of re-enlisted, if any?
So the only two incentives I got was they would, you know how like you normally for sergeant you have to have 4 years time in service to promote to sergeant. So like they basically waived it to 3 years, and the other incentive was just you get to pick like three duty stations to pick as like a wish list.
That's not really much of incentive.
That
at
was
all.
not, it wasn't much.
You make it sound like it's an incentive, bro. That's just not an
So
incentive
you
at
could
all.
like because you could like lab move and counter intel. I think they have like $90,000 bonuses up to $90,000.
Yeah.
I didn't get an extra dime off of it.
Yeah, but let me ask you this though. You said that they waived the time in for sergeant for 3 years, right?
Yes.
But how come you didn't pick up then?
So like my score has floated around the 400s and 500s. Like it's generally in the low 700s to high 600s, and I just haven't gone very close.
What do you think is preventing you from getting
It's
that
definitely
score?
yeah. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you good.
It's a lot of it has to do with my physical fitness. Like right now I'm on limb due. Like I've had shoulder problems for the past couple years. It's been like slowly getting worse. So I've been on limb due for 3 months, and I haven't had much opportunity to like go hard at the gym. Like I have to do things very minimally when I'm like working out.
Got you.
So like like throughout that time, it's just I wasn't progressing very much.
So you can't deploy right now?
I don't know if you can deploy on limb due. I don't know if that's a thing.
I don't think so. I think you
Probably
have to be
not.
medically cleared. You know, without touching on your medical condition, I do want to highlight some of the things whenever it comes for you. So, can you explain to people what limdo is?
So limdo is essentially when you are on a medical status, you're not medically ready anymore. It's a 6-month period. Oftentimes you can't, for example, deploy. You can't do field training. You can't conduct a physical fitness test, a CFT. A majority of training that involves like anything physical you can't really do is because you have those medical limitations because of an underlying condition or whatnot or an injury. So like within that 6 months, like they're gonna definitely try different treatments or whatever it may be to help, figure out a solution to your issue. And if you don't have significant improvement or fully recover after the 6 months, that's when the med board process may or may not start. Which I haven't gotten to that point quite yet, and I'm a little optimistic that I'm gonna get to a better point. It's my shoulders, both my shoulders, but I'm pretty optimistic that it's gonna get better enough or fully better before I go recruiting.
Okay. That's interesting. The reason why I say that that's interesting is because Yeah, you definitely need to be fully medically ready before that because even though it's not as demanding as physically demanding as being a drill instructor, it's still demanding.
Oh, absolutely.
It's still pretty physically demanding because you still have to PT your pulleys. You still have to get up on the bar every now and then and do pull ups if you are doing a pull up, table setup or whatever. So it's still going to be physically demanding. I really wish that wish you the best whenever it comes to that type of stuff because sounds like you're definitely trying to stay in.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So what do you feel is really drives that passion for wanting to be a Marine for you?
I think like being a part of something that's like bigger than myself, an opportunity to like leave a impact in somebody's life or multiple people's lives. Like to me, like it's really hard to find that like in anywhere else in the civilian sector. Like when it comes to like a lot of jobs out there, like some people just don't have a passion for it or care that much about just clocking out. Like some people generally just don't care. All they care about is just paying their bills. But the Marine Corps, like people who stay in long term, most of them, I hope, don't stay in for the money. They stay in for the opportunities and the things they can do for the institution and the people within it.
My experience has been different.
I mean, everyone has a different experience.
Yeah, my experience has been different. Because a lot of people, like you said, right? They join for the challenge. They join for the camaraderie, the pride of belonging, really untangible things. But they stay for the tangible things. Let me explain. So you're probably one of the few. Do you have any kids?
I do not.
Are you married?
I'm not.
Okay, so you survived your first enlistment well, you survived your first enlistment.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Without two of the big three. The other one is buying a car, but I'm guessing you probably have a vehicle.
I do have a car.
Okay, so within the first enlistment, most Marines they join for the pride of belonging and all the things that I mentioned, but now they get married. Now they have a kid. Now they have rent or they buy a house or they open up credit cards. Their spouse, they take their spouse from a completely different environment because usually like a high school sweetheart or somebody that they met out here in their duty station, and now they put them on base housing.
Right.
Something completely new and completely different, maybe from what that person has known. So the reason why I say that is because now 4 years roll around and be like, man, fuck, I really don't enjoy the Marine Corps anymore. Because to be honest, this is a lifestyle, right?
It is a lifestyle.
Like the Marine Corps is a lifestyle. You're like, fuck, man, like I really don't enjoy this shit as much as I used to enjoy it, right? So now they re-enlist, but they re-enlist instead of for that pride of belonging, they re-enlist because they have bills to pay. Because they have things and two things can be true at the same time. My experience, the reason for it is because I'm not being a hypocrite. I'm telling you, after 8 years, that was me. I realized that I could not be. I was not going to make it outside of the Marine Corps on my own because I had no college. Like all the realities that we face. I have no college. What the hell? All the doubt things passed through my mind. Like, what the hell am I gonna do? Where am I gonna find a job? Now it's 2 kids. Now it's my wife. We used to a certain type of lifestyle. We're probably gonna have to downgrade our lifestyle. I don't want that for my family. These are all very realistic things that go through every single staff NCO's mind that was in my position, married, with kids, and with bills. You're lucky, right? That like we want people like you. Like you're the epitome of what it means to be a Marine. Shit, survive his first fucking enlistment without no kids, without no wife, like no baby mama drama, like none of that stuff. Fucking dude, I would. So there was a new more admin that came out. It's like you don't need you have to be an E9 in order for you to do this. But like, dude, we can take your end of current contract, your EAS away. I would right now.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, I would take out your EAS pronto. But the reality is that is most people decide to stay for selfish reasons. And I think that's honestly one of the main factors of the reason why the Marine Corps has talent management problems. We're not gonna get into that. I don't want you to give your opinion on what's going on with the big picture Marine Corps and all that stuff. But that's just my very personal opinion. And the reason why I share this with you is because I want you to identify whenever you get faced in a situation like that. Because right now you're a corporal.
Right.
So, and you're not really going to see these things. You might see them in some sergeants, right? But not all sergeants. Because then the problem that you're going to face is, damn, how come I get put on duty on a Saturday on a 96 and this other sergeant that has a family doesn't? Is that fair? It's not. I'm telling you, it's not fair. You're a sergeant. He's a sergeant.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But to where do we find ourselves in that happy medium? You know.
Right.
And again, things for you to consider because I'm long gone. I'm long out. But you're still in, and I hope that this information actually helps you to determine. Like, oh, okay, wait, hold on a second. Stats aren't 4 kids. Stats aren't paycheck. Really, not that much for 4 kids. You need to identify those type of scenarios. Okay.
Right.
Now, let me ask you this. When are you due for promotion?
So I've been eligible for promotion since March of 2024, but I'm still unfortunately not close to score. Beyond LIMD, like again, it's kind of hard to like progress when it comes to like redoing my PFT, CFT because I can't run those, right? Yeah. But a MAR admin came out very recently, and it's for recruiters, right? So if you're a corporal and you complete a basic recruiters course and go to your next RSS, you can get a non-compete promotion to sergeant.
Yeah, well, you don't want to wait another year for you to get promoted.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, and I'm still gonna try my best to progress, obviously, but that's like the worst case scenario, right?
Yeah, of course.
So it's at least something to be a little more optimistic about. Like, hey, I'm not gonna be a terminal corporal, more likely than not, right?
Yeah. I don't think you're gonna be a terminal corporal either. But what happened? Because I know whenever you have medical paperwork, we use the scores that you previously had. So the scores keep rolling over until you actually have, I think it's 2 to 3 months before you, like after you get taken out of limited duty, for you to get back in shape, and you have to rerun the PFT. So what was it like? Your scores, your PFT, CFT scores were not really that competitive, but before you went into LIMDU?
So the ones I have on file now, I have a PFT of 236, which is like barely a first class.
Yeah.
The CFT, I believe, is 251. So it's like low first class, right? Which isn't.
It's still first class though.
They're still first classes, but they're not like that competitive. Like if you want to be a tier 1 Marine, you need like a 285 each. Let's be honest.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So it wasn't that bad. Like I think my score as of now is like a 498.
Okay, and they was like in the 6 something.
Yeah, like high 6s, like low 7s. So
okay,
it's kind of hard to find other ways that I can increase my JPES right now.
Okay, so this is actually pretty interesting because obviously you're going through all these things right in your career, which I'm sure they can be easy because you have all these, you're eager to continue your military career, and like I just said, like you are the prime candidate for what the Marine Corps is looking for, but you're met with this medical limitations that you have set right now.
Right.
At which point do you actually go like, you know what? Let me go ahead and start a social media presence.
Good question. So, like during the summer, I really wanted to try a new hobby because, like, again, I was still new to California. I didn't have the connections like I did back in North Carolina. I'm like, let me try something new. And again, I've seen so many social media creators on TikTok, for example, like a lot of big creators in the Marine Corps community as well. And like I looked up to a lot of them too. I was like, why not like try it out, but like have at least a more unique spin to it. There was like one creator in particular. His name was Knuckle Daggers. Like he made a lot of content about like financial advice for Marines or just general information. Right? It was very informative, very well put together. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's...
Shout out to Devin. He got out. I spoke to him like 2 weeks ago.
How's he doing?
He's doing good, man. He's doing good. He's going to a aviation skill bridge. I don't even know how much he wants me to put out there, but he's doing the aviation skill bridge now, and he called me to ask for some advice. We spoke for a little bit, And yeah, he's doing good right now. He's doing good. But yeah, he obviously he got out. So that's one of the things, right? That kind of sucks is because he's really good at what he does. Like whenever it comes to the video editing, but now that he's out, like I don't know how is he going to maintain, the presence of his social media niche.
That's true. Like for a lot of military creators, like being a part of the service actively kind of gives you your leverage, right? Once you retire that uniform and you're no longer a part of that community actively, it's kind of hard to, leverage that, I suppose, or
Yeah.
be fully a part of it.
Yeah, because as soon as you put them camis on, your videos are gonna explode.
Exactly.
I don't know I don't know what it is, but the videos that you do in your social media that you post on TikTok specifically in your uniform, they always perform better than the other ones. Unless your name is Abe Angius and everything that this fucking guy posts just simply goes fucking viral.
Yeah.
But yeah. So at what point did you go like, okay, so it was okay, knuckle draggers. He played a huge factor, but why the niche of like the medals?
So the medal, I didn't start off with medals and ribbons, believe it or not. Like I was trying to think of like general things I can inform or educate people about. So I remember like I started out trying to teach people how to like apply to do, let's say, an STA or lab move, right? Like I was just basically verbatim reciting like different things on a screen checklist. It was pretty cut and dry, like, and it didn't do very well, right? So I was kind of throwing darts at the wall, like during the summer, like what actually is going to get some traction, pique some interest. And something I always found funny was like in my unit, I'm one of the only people in the entire command of the Navy Arctic Service ribbon, and people always ask me about it, right? Like they always, even some of the staff NCOs have never seen them before. So I was like, why not make a video explaining this ribbon to people? Because I'm sure a lot of people have never seen this ribbon before.
Yeah.
And that was my first viral video. I think it's like sitting at like 60,000 views now. And I was like, wow, I finally got that viral break I needed to get my, account like out there. And I was like, you know what? Let me try another idea similar to that. So I did my French forage from 2.6. It also did really well. And I had some people like commenting like, hey, I would love you to explain the way you did for this award or that award. I'm like, sure, why not? And those videos started to like consistently like get traction. I'm like, why not make a series about this, right? Because like a lot of young service members don't know anything about awards. Like to them, it's just a bunch of like fruit salad, right?
Yeah, well, they get none now.
They get none now, right? So I thought it'd be a cool opportunity for like me to be able to not only teach them like something that they probably haven't been taught by their NCOs or maybe even staff NCOs.
Yeah, because you don't get classes about none of that stuff.
Oh, absolutely not. It's not even a Marine class for it. Nothing at all. Like you kind of have to learn it as you progress in your time in the Marine Corps, whatever branch you're in. So,
dude, some people don't even know where to find if they rate an award.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember one time I was in Okinawa and I went on deployment with a guy when I was still in artillery. And I had already lab moved, and I was at the range. I would go to eat at the chow hall, and I saw him. He was still with artillery, and they were out there on deployment. And I saw him. He was like, "Hey, what's up, man? Like, how you been? Blah blah, whatever." And then it was Friday, so it was Charlie Friday, and I see his stack, and I'm like, "Oh, damn!" Well, we had obviously we've been on the same deployment, so we should have similar stacks, right?
Right.
It was like, "Oh man, where do you get that one?" It's like, "You don't have that one?" I was like, no, I should. It was like, yeah, dude, we got it from this deployment. And he was like, yeah, you got to go here, here, and here. If it wasn't because he would have told me, I would have never found out that I actually rated that award. So people don't even know. Where do people go, actually, to find out what awards do they rate?
Like, when it comes to the Marine Corps, like, MAR admins are, like, the most helpful source out there. Like, they always, like, constantly post, like, new MAR admins that are published on the Marine Corps' website about, like, information, not only about awards, but, like, anything else involving an institution. Of course, there's also a Navy Marine Corps award manual that goes over, like, the regulations, criteria for every single award that's you're eligible to wear as a Marine or a Navy personnel. Like, there's a lot of information, believe it or not, out there. I think a lot of people, like, just don't know where to look.
Dude, I think you will make a great career planner. Have you ever thought about that?
Believe it or not, like I actually tried moving to be a career planner
What
last year.
happened?
My monitor, from what I was told from my career planner at least, did not want to give up the boat space at the time. I don't remember
Um,
if there was like something in particular or if like I don't remember, but it was a little hard question. I'm not gonna lie.
well, you can try again.
I mean, I definitely could try again. I'll just have to see how like recruiting goes, assuming I follow through, obviously, and everything goes.
So
as
that's
planned.
what's next for you. It's recruiting duty.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, you still got a year, right? You
Yeah,
still got a year, but for preparing. But why recruiting and not a drone instructor?
I think like from what I've been told by a lot of people, I just have a better skill set to be a recruiter than I do a drill instructor. People say like I'm good at leveraging like my social media, like being creative about it. Some people say I'm well spoken, right? So I think I just have a better natural skill set to possibly succeed in recruiting than drill instructor. Like I've been, decently fit throughout my life, but I'm not like a hard charger. I'm not good at folding 45s on racks. Like
Okay.
there's obviously a lot more to it, but I think just objectively looking at myself, I would just do better recruiting.
Okay. And where are you wanting to go? You volunteered for it, right? So you
Correct.
got your RS pick.
Well, not exactly. So I submitted my package really late because recruiting was a somewhat last minute thing. I was thinking about it for a while, but like actually falling through was kind of last minute. So by the time like my package hit headquarters Marine Corps, like all the RSs were capped out. So from what I was told by my career planner earlier today, is I have to do what's called an RS buy-in. So I think like whenever like I think
Well,
before
what RS were you trying to go to?
I'm hoping like somewhere in Texas. That would be ideal for me. 'Cause I've always wanted to live in Texas, even if it's for a few years. I thought that'd be an awesome opportunity to be
Okay.
at.
Texas is a great place to recruit, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, it's a pretty diverse demographic too. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Because you're what? You're Asian?
I'm Asian. Yeah,
Okay. Um, yeah, I don't know about Asians over there in Texas. There, I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
In specific pockets of Texas, but I know it's a shit ton of Hispanics. So you might want to brush up on your Spanish, buddy.
I definitely will have to take like a Duolingo
At
class.
least you gotta know the basics, like "Hola, cómo estás?"
Muy bien.
There you go. Hey. Okay, so you got. You know what? Hey, whoever is the RSR major for either Fort Worth, Dallas Fort Worth, or what's this other place? I don't know, but for Fort Worth, hey, listen, you got a prime candidate over here. I'm gonna have a buy-in too for somebody that works at the district right over there in Texas. So, yeah, we can definitely get you in the door at least. But hey, listen, he knows how to speak Spanish already, pretty much. Okay, so make sure you guys give him the break that he needs. So recruiting duty, going to the schoolhouse. What is your expectation of recruiting?
From what I've been told from like a lot of people, that it is very difficult, like when it comes to recruiting, right? Because a lot of people aren't naturally good at being salesmen, right? Because like when it comes to recruiting, you have to convince a lot of young men and women like to make a drastic change in their life and follow through with it for like 4 years or however long their contract is, right? It's a lot easier said than done, especially when like most Americans from like 18 to like 26 or whatever that group is, 18, 24, right?
24.
Like most of them are not qualified to join the military because of like a criminal background. It could be either out of shape, underlying medical condition, like a plethora of
You're gonna
things.
realize that that's the biggest bullshit that exists.
Why is that?
Because I've seen it firsthand. That's the biggest bullshit that they try to say. The sergeant majors or the senior enlisted advisors for the branches went to Congress and testified for that. The only thing that I have to say, Sergeant Major Black, is like, tell me then, why the hell are we allowing an applicant with a 12 on the ASVAB and with permanently disqualifying situations to join the Marine Corps band, and pretty much got told that, the drill instructors got told that this person, no matter what, needed to pass because they needed that type of musician on the band. This is a true story. This happened to me while I was on recruiting, and I find it extremely convenient that they can choose which rules they want to bend and which ones they don't. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you'll see that's very subjective. There's a lot of that. I don't know if you heard about the 8412 mafia. that is 100% a thing. 8412s are career recruiters.
Right.
Okay. And there's known to be said, possibly allegedly so, that there's a mafia behind all that stuff. There's 100% a mafia behind it. I can tell you that. If I don't wake up tomorrow or after this podcast is released, you know that the mafia got to me. But it is 100% a thing. And I don't think it's fair that Congress decides the senior enlisted advisors get to testify against Congress something that is not 100% accurate. I don't think that's accurate at all. I think that they pick and choose who to bend the rules for and who not to bend the rules for. And I think it should be the same across the board. So I'm going to tell you this again, because you are on the very eager side, which I love, right? And the reason why I tell you these things, again, it's not to discourage you. I don't want to discourage you. The reason for this podcast, as a matter of fact, is not to discourage people, is not to throw shit at the Marine Corps, is to have a very realistic approach to whatever. Because what I want you to do is I want you to be not necessarily the best recruiter. I want you to be the most prepared recruiter. You know, because I can guarantee you, specifically at Supply Battalion, bro, like I can guarantee you that you talked to a couple of recruiters already. And you might have mixed opinions of it. You might met somebody like me, which when I was a gunnery sergeant in the Marine Corps, I used to tell all of my Marines and all the Marines that I came in contact with, recruiting will change your life because it changed mine. Okay? Same thing for you. I'm going to tell you the exact same thing. Recruiting is an absolutely beautiful thing. I know there's going to be a bunch of people that are going to say recruiting sucked, recruiting screwed up my life. And those people are going to be, there's more people like that than me. Okay? So if you decide to listen to those people, I'm going to tell you this right now. They will be trials and tribulations in your life on recruiting duty. I promise you that. Okay? But the reason why I tell you what those trials and tribulations are going to be is because I want you to identify them and I want you to jump over them quickly. Because if not, what's going to happen is the first moment that you encounter one of those trials and tribulations or just simply a motherfucking testing you, there you go. Staff Sergeant Snugglenuts was right about this. He was right. Recruiting sucks. And that's what usually happens with those people. They go like, oh, no, recruiting's going to be different for me. No, it's not. You're going to encounter the same snotty-ass fucking 17-year-olds that are going to be controlling your life because your livelihood, your quality of life depends on a 17-year-old and their parents agreeing to him signing on the dotted lines. Right.
I'm sure it's a very frustrating stipulation to have to constantly deal with on a daily basis. And that's something I'm going to have to try my best to prepare for. I mean, rejection is a pretty common thing from what I heard in recruiting too. And like meeting you guys have quotas, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so meeting the quotas, like it can be very challenging depending on where your RS is.
Yeah, mission. It's called mission, not quota. It's called mission.
Sorry.
It's like you gotta make mission. That's how we say it on recruiting. But the reason why I say that, brother, is because regardless, and I'm gonna tell you what I always tell all recruiters. All recruiters always tell them this. And this is why, as a matter of fact, you know who Gunnery Sergeant Dutton is?
Yes.
Dutton Mindset?
The recruiter on social media.
Yeah. And do you know who Gunnery Sergeant Parm is? The other recruiter on social media. Okay. So them two, they're making like some sort of draft. Okay? To where they're picking recruiters. And I commented on their video. I was like, listen, put me in the worst sector in the United States. And put me with all the suicidal recruiters. Put me with the recruiters like that suck. All the introverts. Okay? Because the only thing that I'm going to ask them if they're going to be on my team or not is like, do you want to be here? That's the only recruit. That I don't care about how many contracts they've put. I don't care about none of that stuff. Do you want to be here on recruiting duty? Yes or no? Yes, I want to be here. Come, I'll take you. The reason why I say that is because I have the recipe for you to be successful on recruiting. Period. And if you listen to this, I promise you that you will be successful in recruiting. You will not stop working until 3, not 1, not 2, 3 applicants go to MEPS and raise their right hand to defend the Constitution of the United States. You do not stop working. That is like it's that simple. Whatever you need to do. If you see that you have certain influencers on your high school, in your high schools that were Marines, that were whatever, you wanna whatever it is that means. You simply do not stop working until you find that niche within your community, and then once you do that, you are gonna develop so much momentum that it's not gonna matter because you'll be like, oh, 3, right? Easy.
Yeah.
Easy. Fucking 3 people, right? No, because you have the East, the enlistment screening test that you have to worry about. You have to worry about them passing medical. Those are the 2 biggest things. One time, I had to send like 9 to 12 applicants just to get 1 approved through MEPS. So in reality, if you really want 3, you're sending 12 to 15 kids a month on MEPS. Well, you know what that does? That develops momentum for you. And you might be like, fuck, man. Because I've talked to recruiters, and I'm not going to say your fucking name, but you know I'm fucking pissed off at you because you made me a promise that you're not keeping right now. I told her this. Fuck, I said the gender. I told this recruiter, this is what you got to do. I talked to this recruiter like 2 weeks ago. What's up? I was like, what's up? You told me you were going to do this. You're going to do this and that. I haven't heard absolutely nothing from you. So what's up? Oh, well, don't worry because I have like 2 med reads that I'm counting for next month. It was like, is that what I told you to do? Is that what I told you? Oh, no, but I'm going to make mission. It's like, no. Or do you want to make mission or do you want to be the fucking best? Because I don't train fucking average recruiters. I don't train average people. Do you want to be the fucking regular ass recruiter or do you want to be the best? Do you want to win recruiter of the year? Do you want to win recruiter of the year for the district? Do you want to do all these things? Yes or no? Tell me right now and I'll stop fucking calling you. That's just it. Like people are not ready to hear that. People want to be successful until they realize the amount of work that it takes for you to be successful.
Oh, absolutely. And
I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent there. I'm sorry. I get passionate about this shit.
No,
As
you're
you can
good.
see, I get passionate
and
about
I'm really
this
glad
shit.
to hear your insight about that because like I'd love to like prepare myself as much as I can for that transition because it's definitely one of the hardest jobs in the Marine Corps, and I feel people like don't talk about that enough. It is genuinely very difficult.
Yeah, dude, because you got to think about it. It's all about the numbers. It's all about numbers and volume.
Yeah.
If you want to be a successful recruiter, you need to send at least 9 to 10 people to MEPS. And that is assuming that MEPS is not going to, that MEPS is going to disqualify about 80% of them. Okay, so you send 10 people, but you know how much effort it takes for you to get 10 people? There's only 4 weeks in a month. That means that you have to have what? 2, 4, 8, 10. You got to have 2 interviews. That's what they call. You got to have 2 interviews a week with a qualified applicant. You know how hard that is? That means that if you want to have 2, you really need to have like 10. So that now we're talking about 10 times 2, 20, 40. That means that you're talking on a weekly basis, you're talking to at least 200 to 350 people a week.
Which is insane to think about.
But most people don't understand these numbers. That's why like I understand these numbers and they don't frighten me. You see what I'm saying? Because I already understand them. A lot of people don't understand them. And when they do understand them, they don't have the fucking cojones. Translate?
I don't know what that means.
They don't have the fucking balls to do the amount of work that it takes. Hey, RS Sergeant Major, he's still learning, okay? Duolingo. We're working with him with Duolingo. But brother Luke, do you have any type of closing remarks? This has been an amazing episode.
No, I gotta say thank you so much for like having me on the podcast. I've definitely heard great insights from you, and I'm looking forward to maybe working with you again sometime. That'd be awesome.
Of course. Where can people reach out to you at?
Follow me on TikTok. It's gonna be _Luke Lou, as well as on Instagram as well.
Okay, well, what's your Instagram handle? Same?
Same handle, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Guys, as you guys heard, if you guys have any type of advice for this young Marine Corps corporal that has a full career ahead of him, let him know in the comments on YouTube. Let him know in the comments on any of the social media platforms that you see this. What comment or what advice would you give to a young Marine corporal or sergeant that is about to go in an SDA, more specifically being a recruiter? What advice would you have to him? Let him know over here in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next episode.